the woodlands and the wire. Miss Clara Everley found her sanctuary not in the suffocating propriety of the drawing room, but in the dappled, breathing silence of Blackwood Forest. Here, amidst the ancient oaks and tangled briar, she pursued her singular secret passion, the meticulous botanical illustration of England's vanishing flora. Her portfolio was a testament to a world her family, preoccupied with securing a suitable matrimonial match for her, neither perceived nor comprehended. The noon train deposited a figure entirely alien to the pastoral rhythm of the village, Mr. Julian Croft. He was an architect of the new age, a man of iron and steam, dispatched from London to chart the inexorable path of progress. As he surveyed the rolling hills from a high vantage point, his gaze was not that of a poet, but of a conqueror, calculating gradients and clearances for the railway line that would tether this sleepy hollow to the thrumming heart of the empire. News of the railway's intended desecration of Blackwood fell upon Clara like a physical blow. Armed with her scientific portfolio, she confronted Julian at the village inn where he had taken his lodgings. "You cannot," she began, her voice trembling, with a righteous fury, "demolish a living cathedral, a repository of irreplaceable life, for the sake of mere commercial convenience." Julian regarded her with a cool, professional detachment. In his world of blueprints and balance sheets, he saw not a scientist defending a vital ecosystem, but a sentimental provincial girl clinging to a patch of weeds. "Madam," he replied, his tone laced with a condescension he barely tried to conceal. "Progress has a price. It is a grand and necessary engine that sentimental attachments cannot hope to impede." That evening, however, alone in his room, Julian found himself unrolling the single drawing Clara had thrust into his hands, a detailed study of a rare ghost orchid. He had expected an amateurish watercolor. Instead, he discovered a work of breathtaking precision, each translucent petal and vein rendered with a botanist's accuracy and an artist's soul. For the first time, he felt a flicker of doubt in his own unassailable certainty. Under the guise of demonstrating the logistical fallacies of his route, she persuaded him to accompany her into Blackwood. She did not speak of ephemeral beauty, but of empirical fact, pointing out the ancient coppiced stools, the delicate mycorrhizal networks, the rare butterfly that depended entirely upon a single variety of violet. She was not pleading. She was presenting evidence. A sudden, violent summer squall forced them to take refuge in a derelict gamekeeper's hut. Trapped by the deluge, the formal animosity between them dissolved into a damp, shivering truce. They spoke not of railways or orchids, but of their lives. His ambition forged in the industrial crucible of London, her intellect stifled by the rigid expectations of the countryside. They discovered in each other an unexpected kinship of spirit. At the public inquiry, before the stony-faced committee from the railway company, Clara presented her meticulously researched case for an alternative route. She spoke with an eloquence and scientific authority that stunned the assembly. When she finished, a profound silence fell, broken only by the scraping of a chair. Julian rose to his feet. "Miss Everley is correct," he announced, his voice ringing with conviction. Her proposal is not only ecologically superior, but is also, upon review, the more prudent from an engineering standpoint. His career was jeopardized, but the forest was saved. In the quiet aftermath, they walked together through the sun-drenched paths of Blackwood, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and shared victory. The space between them was no longer charged with conflict, but with a new unspoken intimacy. He saw her not as an obstacle, but as a visionary, a woman of profound substance and intellect. "I am not returning to London," Julian said, stopping beneath the ancient boughs of a great oak. "I intend to establish a practice here, one that respects the landscape it builds upon." He turned to her, his gaze direct and sincere. But such a venture would be meaningless without a partner who understands the true foundation of things. He reached for her hand. "A partner who can teach me the language of the land." In that touch, a new world, built on shared principles and burgeoning love, was chartered. New, unspoken intimacy. He saw her not as an obstacle, but as a visionary, a woman of profound substance and intellect.